Now when I talk about Innovas in general, this is what comes to your mind. Yes, they are fleet vehicles, but the Innova name has quite a heritage in India. It was announced nearly a decade or more than a decade ago, and it has created quite a reputation for itself. Now why is that the case? One, it's a very good people carrier, it is very comfortable, it goes on and on for kilometers and kilometers without any trouble. I personally know people who have driven their car for 6-7 lakh kilometers without any faults. And yes, that is why the Innova has actually built quite a reputation for itself in India. So you can imagine the hype that Innova has created when Toyota actually announced that they're going to be launching a new Innova called this, the all-new Innova Hycross. It has quite a lot of things to offer, and I can't wait to show you everything that it has to offer. Let's begin. Now when you talk about the overall exterior design of the Hycross, it certainly reminds you of the Crysta in very different angles, but as an overall package, it certainly looks a lot more butch, masculine and more SUV-like. It is trying to shed its MPV stature and move on to the SUV characteristics. You have these nice LED headlights here, you have this chrome finish on the grille, and you have this large imposing grille as well. Also you have the front DRLs here, and more importantly, when you look at the overall front design, it looks very butch, macho, and yes, very appealing if you ask me. Now let's move to the side. When you move on to the side, the first thing that you notice are these 18-inch alloy wheels, and more importantly, these butch and masculine looking wheel arches, which certainly make it look more of an SUV and less of an MPV, and that is exactly what Toyota are going for. Now, when you look at the overall side as well, there are a lot of cuts and creases on the body line. You have this nice imposing shoulder line, and you have a slice line that goes across the rear of the door, and as an overall package, it doesn't make it look very bland on the side because you actually have a lot of design elements on the side, including the large windows, which make it look a lot bigger. Now the rear is definitely a good talking point as well because it doesn't look very boxy if you ask me. It is certainly a little more curvaceous. You have this nice LED tail lights here. You have the Innova Hycross badging here, which is extremely prominent on your face. You have a large hybrid badge here, which is what is the biggest talking point about this vehicle. You have bumper cladding over here as well with some fake vents. I don't know why they've done that, but if you ask me, it looks very masculine, very big, and certainly very appealing for anybody looking to buy the Hycross. Now one very important talking point is the boot of the Hycross. Now Toyota has not given me an exact figure, but it is certainly telling me that this is a new feature in the Innova Hycross, an electronic tailgate. Now the boot, as you see, is decent enough for two small luggages, or like most fleet owners would want, a decent amount of boot space, but you could actually improve it by folding the seat forward. Now you've seen the exteriors of the Hycross already because yes, we have seen a whole bunch of images, but the interiors is what is the biggest talking point. Let's move inside. So the biggest complaint that most Innova owners had, or for that matter most Toyota owners had, was that it did not offer a lot of features when you compare it to its competition. But that is not the case anymore with the Hycross. It is feature loaded till the gill that you can think of. Things such as a large panoramic sunroof, a nice 10.1-inch touchscreen infotainment screen with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, a digital display, actually semi-digital display, you have a wireless charger, and you have another whole lot of features such as ADAS, and yes, very importantly, ventilated seats for both the passengers, 8-way adjustable seats with the memory function, and a whole lot of features that is really going to impress you. The thing that impressed me the most was the 9-speaker JBL system with a subwoofer that actually plays your tunes pretty well. So yes, people who are going to buy the Innova now are not going to complain about the features anymore. Now when you talk about the overall driving front seat, I am actually sitting in my driving position and I am seated very comfortably thanks to the 8-way adjustable seat. I can see the road pretty well. I am seated pretty comfortably, not very claustrophobic on the inside. The amount of quality leather that you see, the fit and finish is extremely Toyota-like. I like all the elements that you see in front of you. Nothing feels plasticky. Yes, piano black is slightly of an overuse because it leaves fingerprints everywhere, but not a big problem. I like this nice chrome design, this finish that you have here. So all in all, one, it is very practical. One, it has a lot of space. Now let's move to the back seat and see how the rear seats are. Now to know more about this seat's comfort, keep watching my review because I have spoken about it later. But for now, I'm going to talk about the third row. Move like this, and it is slightly cramped to get inside. And see, now it's fine because I have the seat all the way in the front, but let me take this back. Now when you move to the rear seat, that is the third row of seats, I presume that you're not going to be extremely comfortable because the guy sitting in front of me has definitely not sitting as he would want to sit. He's sitting just to make me comfortable. So yeah, knee room is here is decent, headroom is decent, but the advantage that you have is because of the ample amount of air that you have, the large panoramic sunroof, the large windows, it actually helps you feel very less claustrophobic. But I would not want to do long distances with this because the thigh support is okayish. I have place to put my leg underneath the seat, but that's about it. I can't have 3 people sitting here, so I would much rather be sitting here. So powering the Innova Hycross are 2 engine options. You have a regular gasoline motor and you have this, the gasoline motor combined with an electric motor, which is called the hybrid obviously. Now this is a 2-liter 4-cylinder petrol motor that comes with an assisted hybrid technology, and Toyota has always been known for their hybrids. They have been doing it since the start and they are technically the pioneers, so they do a very good job, right? Now this motor is combined with an eCVT gearbox, and basically what the eCVT gearbox does is you don't have shifts per se. It actually feels very seamless when you're accelerating. The only downside for that is when you're accelerating slightly hard, you hear a lot of engine noise on the inside, but other than that the NVH levels are pretty bang on. Now when you talk about the acceleration, Toyota claims that this can do 0 to 100 in 9.5 seconds. Obviously that is not something that a lot of people are going to be concerned about because people buying the Innova are not primarily people who are going to be driving sporty. They want luxury, and this is oodles in luxury. All the things that people really complained about before has all been resolved with terms of the features, but when you look at the overall driving dynamics, this still feels pretty much like the older Innova. The only thing being that you now don't get a diesel option in this. For that you buy the Innova Crysta. But overall, suspension is very nice, the gearbox is very nice, the steering feedback is also very decent, you have ample amount of room, and when you look at the overall seating position of the driving seat, you are seated pretty well, you have a nice view, not a lot of blind spots, and for your blind spots you actually have a blind spot monitor. So when you look at all of those factors, yes, the Innova Crysta actually makes a lot of sense. Now one of the best traits for the Innova has always been its suspension. No matter if it's empty or you have it loaded with passengers and luggage, it has always had one of the best suspension, and the Innova Hycross is no different. I am on a bad piece of road, and yes, I don't have the car loaded to the brim, but I'm not feeling a lot of bumps. Let me remind you that I'm actually riding on 18-inch alloys with a 50 profile tire, but this still has a great amount of comfort for the passengers. Now yes, when I am going over bad patches of road, there is slight body roll, but it is a monocoque chassis, so you don't feel it that much. And the added bonus is that the suspension setup is really soft, so most of you folks who are going to sit at the front or sit at the back are going to really enjoy the suspension. Now the next talking point about the Innova Hycross is the brakes, because yes, it actually has very good brakes. When you're driving on the highway and when you want to really come to a stop, you simply have to tap the brakes and it actually is able to slow down pretty well, which is very impressive. What you heard, by the way, was the collision warning system. Toyota is really emphasizing on its safety. Now Toyota has introduced something which is, in basic terms, is the ADAS system, but Toyota calls this the Toyota sensing system, which basically means that you have stuff such as lane keep assist, radar guided cruise control, a 360-degree camera, blind spot monitoring, and this collision warning system, all standard in the Hycross, which means that the car is pretty safe. Also, it comes with 6 airbags, and obviously currently we don't have the G and cab rating. I presume that Toyota is going to do well in that case as well. Another nice talking point is the steering dynamics, because the steering dynamics is actually very light. Yes, when you push this car, you're not going to get like the feel that you want if you're somebody who's performance oriented, but this car to begin with is not a very performance oriented car. Yes, you have drive modes, which has a power mode, an eco mode and normal mode, but the power mode is not something that will make you go from 0 to 100 in like 2 seconds. It's 9.5 seconds. So all in all, the Innova Hycross is very good, and yeah, with its hybrid system, it actually gets a claimed range of nearly 21 kilometers, which when you look at it in the real world is going to be around 15 to 18 kilometers, which is not very bad. Plus you have the option of driving only in EV mode. Now Toyota has not given us the real world number for how far can you go in EV mode, but I'm presuming that you can at least do 20 to 30 kilometers, which basically means your one-way commute to work, or for some cases your commute to work entirely. So when you look at all of those factors, the Innova Hycross certainly makes a lot of sense. And I need to also remind you of the fact that no matter what I tell about this car, I am definitely going to see a whole bunch of them on the road because of the legacy that the Innova Crysta and the Innova carries in general. Now let's move to the rear of the Innova Hycross, because this is somewhere that most of us are comfortable with, and actually most of you folks are going to spend your time in. To be honest, the rear seat is extremely luxurious. You have your ventilation here for your rear mounted AC controls. You also have the option for sun blinds, and the biggest talking point is this seat has thigh support, and its rear backrest can be adjusted electronically, which is something that is a feature first, obviously, but something that a lot of people will enjoy. Now talking about the overall space, I have ample amount of knee room, ample amount of headroom, and I don't feel claustrophobic at the back because of the large windows and now the large panoramic sunroof as well. The only thing that I feel is the Innova seat is very comfortable, but the cushioning could have been slightly more comfortable is what I feel, but that is something that is not a big concern. And the second concern that I've noticed is because of its new hybrid technology and its battery pack being under the front seats, you actually can't put your legs underneath the seat and actually recline and relax yourself. For that, you actually have to take the seat behind completely so that you can do that. And when you actually take a seat completely behind, the guy in the rear seat will not have any space. So that's the only downside that I feel for the rear seat in general. Otherwise, pretty feature loaded for the back, and something very interesting. The window door goes down damn fast. Something that I noticed, so I thought I should point it out. Yeah, with that, let's move to the verdict. Now this is going to be one of those very rare times where are you actually going to be listening to my verdict? Because no matter what I say about the Innova Hycross, you folks are going to go and buy it anyways. And to be honest, I really can't find any faults with it. The Innova Crysta has always been a good car. The Innova in general has always been a good car. And with this, Toyota has only upped the ante. The only thing that this car misses out on is the diesel motor, but the hybrid with nearly 1000+ kilometers range really makes up for it. Now the only thing that is concerned to me is the pricing, and Toyota claims that this is going to be around the 30 lakh mark. And if that actually does happen, this is going to be a nail in the coffin for every other MPV in India. With that, let me know in the comments down below what do you think about the Hycross, and if you've already booked yours. Until then, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to BBC Top Gear Magazine India. This is Yash Sunil signing out. Bye bye.